The night had quietly settled over Luminous, and the Weston family's villa appeared even more imposing under the sky covered with heavy clouds, the moonlight barely piercing through the leaves of the trees. Inside the house, everyone slept soundly, but in the backyard, where the soul's balance lay hidden, things were far from peaceful. The ancient monument glowed with a strange light, like a beacon in a stormy night. The wind seemed to whisper old stories, carrying the shadows of the trees like silent ghosts. Ethan couldn't sleep. Ever since discovering the strange monument, he had been drawn by an inexplicable desire to understand it. He awoke suddenly, feeling a mysterious pull from the garden. Without making a sound, he grabbed his flashlight from the drawer and quietly slipped out of the house. There was a strange sense of anticipation in the air, as if all of nature was preparing for something inevitable. As he approached the monument, the air grew denser and colder, and the lights around him seemed to melt into the darkness of the night. Stepping closer to the soul's balance, he noticed the animals from the forest gathering again around the stone, watching him silently, as if they had been waiting. Ethan touched the stone with the tip of his fingers, and suddenly, a powerful force surged through his body. Flashing visions unfolded in his mind, the forest teeming with life, animals and ancient people living together in harmony, but also shadows of old tragedies, losses, and sacrifices made in the name of preserving balance. He saw unknown faces, people who had, in their turn, been bound to this mysterious place. Every fate had its place in the grand mosaic of the balance. In that moment, Ethan understood something crucial. The soul's balance didn't just influence the lives of those in Luminous. It drew them into an endless cycle of deeds and debts, constantly balancing what was lost and gained. Here, every soul, whether human or animal, carried a weight in the balance, and their presence in the area was no accident. The Westons had been called here just like others before them. As Ethan tried to break free from the visions, he began to realize that this power was not just a blessing. The balance demanded its price, and that price was often unclear. He returned to the house with a heavy heart, determined to tell his parents what he had discovered. The next morning, Emily was in her studio sketching feverishly. Ever since they had moved, her creativity had flowed like a torrent, but something in her art had started to change. In each painting, mysterious symbols appeared, a blackbird flying toward the sunset, elongated shadows by the water's edge, indistinct faces watching from the forest. At first, she thought they were just the product of her imagination, but now she understood that they were not random. Michael, on the other hand, felt that his professional success had reached an unexpected level. Complex cases seemed to resolve themselves almost effortlessly, and money had started pouring in. Yet something gnawed at him from within. Every success seemed to be accompanied by an unexpected loss or problem. A close colleague had resigned suddenly, and one of his important clients had mysteriously disappeared. Ethan told his parents about his visions and the feeling that the balance was weighing something deeper than they had initially imagined. The following evening, they decided to return to the monument and seek more answers. This time they came prepared, bringing candles, holy water, and some objects suggested by their elderly neighbor, Jasper, for protection. When they stood before the balance, its pale lights enveloped them again, but this time they were more aware of the power it emitted. Emily, her hands trembling, placed a painted canvas beside the monument. On it was a large scale with a bird's wing on one side and a black stone on the other. Michael, in turn, knelt beside his wife, reciting an old prayer he had heard from the elders. Ethan and Lily stood quietly behind them, watching with wide, fearful eyes. Suddenly, the wind began to blow fiercely and the sky darkened even further. The lights around them danced frantically and a loud thunder shook the ground. In the midst of the storm, voices from the past became audible, whispering fragments of an unknown language. And then something unexpected happened. The monument, which had seemed so old and inert, moved slightly. A fine crack opened on its surface, and a blue ray of light shot out from within. The old families of luminous, lost souls, and vanished animals were all connected to this force. The soul's balance was about to reveal a secret far greater than they had ever imagined. The Weston family realized that their fate was in the hands of this power. But to restore the balance and avoid falling prey to its darker forces, they had to accept not only the good that the balance brought, but also the inevitable price it demanded. From that night on, their lives would be changed forever, and they would have to learn to live in the shadow of the mysterious power of the soul's balance, struggling to maintain the equilibrium between light and darkness.